Hawaii County is proposing an update to its short-term vacation rental law. What's happening with that? I'll give you an update coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? You may have heard, and I get asked a lot recently, what's going on with this new piece of legislation that the Hawaii County Council has proposed to increase its regulation on short-term vacation rentals. And so the first thing to understand here is this is February of 2023 when this video is being shot. So things may change if you watch this in the future. But as of right now, the way things stand are there is a new piece of legislation that is being proposed. And that's the important part of this is being proposed. So it hasn't even gone through the committee hearing process or through the approval process of the county council. So there's a lot that needs to happen before something like this takes effect. It could be a year from now before something like this goes through the entire legislative process, ultimately being signed by the mayor and then going into effect. And so a lot of things can change, but I'm going to talk about initially what the intent and what the ideas behind this piece of legislation is, so you kind of have an idea of where they want to go. So the first thing is they're changing the terminology from short-term vacation rental to transient accommodation rental. So TAR is going to be the new term that they refer to. And the big thing that this changes is it leaves the current legislation somewhat in place, makes a few updates to it, but the way things are now, where if you have a rental that you rent out fully and as the proper zoning, you can get a permit, you have to pay fees, you got to get approvals through the county, but once you get that permit, you can then short-term vacation rent it. That entire piece of legislation did not apply to a hosted rental. So if you lived on the property, it was your primary residence, and you were renting, say, the downstairs or an ohana unit or an additional dwelling unit on the property, or even just bedrooms within your house, the current legislation, the current regulation does not apply. And so people continue to do that. And so they want to now start regulating hosted vacation rentals and require them to get a permit similar to the process that you must go through to get a short-term vacation rental permit now. And so what that means is it's gonna be a similar process. The difference is the zoning is not going to be as affected, because obviously most of these rentals are not going to be in an area that has the proper zoning, but they're going to just want to make sure that the rental is being cared for, looked after, taxes are being paid, and that there is a process for the public to complain if there are issues with that short-term rental. So that's the intent, is really to add in hosted rentals where the owner or someone lives on the property and hosts a rental into this whole short-term vacation rental regulation and start to regulate it. Whether it's all necessary, who knows? There was a report that came out from the county that there are somewhere in the ballpark of like 6,000 short-term rentals on the island, and in 2022 they got like less than 70 complaints. And so we're talking about like less, around 1%. So there isn't widespread complaining going on or issues happening in communities, but obviously they exist, and so the lawmakers are trying to address it. So the short story is a lot can change. This thing may never go into effect at all if there's a lot of opposition to it, or it may go into effect in a very different form. But as of February 2023, that's what's going on. There's a website that I'll link to in the comments below that has more details and frequently asked questions. But if you're interested, get involved, stay informed, and go out there and comment on it one way or the other, so your voice is heard, because it's very early on in the process and the public's ability to be engaged and be involved in the process is just beginning. So if you have any questions, you can email me at dylan@buybigisland.com, or if you want to book a meeting about your plans, maybe to purchase a short-term rental here on the island, you can do that in the link below at the Calendly link, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.